On this episode of Game Shack, I talk about why I just ordered the arcade 1-up Star Wars virtual pinball game. Coming up next. Hey everybody, JDV here for Evil Genius Entertainment. Welcome on into the Game Shack. Okay, on this episode, I'm going to talk about why I just pre-ordered Star Wars virtual pinball game from arcade 1-up, and some reasons why I was very hesitant to do so. So let's get into maybe the negatives first. One, because there's no way that I can test the game out in the real world. I went to GameStop yesterday, as a matter of fact, and said, hey, are you going to get a demo unit of this? And he said, no, we're not going to get any of these units in. And that is because when you order the game, I guess because of COVID, they ship the game directly to your house. So they kind of cut out the GameStop brick and mortar stores completely. And because there's no way I can physically touch or play the game, I have a hard time answering some of the concerns I have with the game. And those concerns are, is a 24-inch 720 screen enough to satisfy the I want it to look real, aspect of this? I mean, one of the things about virtual pinball, one of the reasons why it has only caught on really in the last couple of years, is because it really couldn't fool your eye. It couldn't really make you have a real pinball experience. And I'm not completely convinced that a 720p, even at 60 frames per second on a 24-inch screen, is enough. But perhaps the biggest reason and the biggest hesitation for me ordering this game is the fact that it has no Wi-Fi and it has no USB port, which means you can't upgrade the firmware and you can't upgrade the games. Now, there's been some rumor that if this game is successful enough, Arcade 1-up will somehow allow you to do that. But Retro Ralph took apart this machine, and I don't see any indication that there is a Wi-Fi chip on this thing, or that there is a USB or micro SD port on the CPU. If that's true, I think the only way for Arcade 1-up to upgrade the firmware or to let you buy new games is to send you a whole new CPU. Now, that's not unprecedented. Toy Shark is doing that right now with their Haunted House Black Hole virtual pinball game, where if you go to their Facebook page and jump through some other hoops, they will send you a brand new CPU box free of charge, plus shipping, but for $8-10 you get to have a better system. So maybe Arcade 1-up is looking at that. That to me is kind of pie in the sky, although they too, I think, have issued some, I think for Asteroids maybe, I think they have done it for another one of their cabinets. So again, it's not unprecedented, and maybe it's something that they will do, but I can't count on that happening. So if there is a real glitch in the system, like the Retro Ralph points out that the back marquee is maybe that big, but you only get to see a letterbox portion of it, that's very disappointing. That's something that, well, come on, at least allow me to adjust that. There's no reason why you shouldn't be. It's almost like saying you can't adjust the volume. It's a very weird omission if that's true. And if I'm right in that there's no way to upgrade the firmware, I'm stuck with that even if I'm not very happy with it. But all that said, all those potential negatives aside, I did pre-order the machine, and there's some really, I think, strong arguments to pre-ordering this machine. So let me run down some of the reasons why I did it. One, virtual pinball has come of age. In the last few years, the pinball fanatics, I guess, the people who really love pinball have pushed forward some really slick homebrew games to the point where for $2,000 or $3,000 you can have a game that maybe is even better than a real pinball game because it has more boards, it just has all the power of the CPU behind it. So as those advancements have sort of trickled down, I guess, to the home market, it has made it practical, only really in the last year, to have these machines hit the market. Now, of course, virtual pinball goes all the way back to the Atari 2600 and has been on every major console since then. But in terms of the actual pinball cabinet, the the noise, the sound, having a screen and the graphics that can actually fool your eye, that's a relatively new thing. That's one of the big positives of this game. So I'll get into that right now, which is it looks slick as heck. It has taken all of the advancements in virtual pinball, like the graphics, like the sound, the backboard, including having 4 solenoids, including the ability to haptic feedback, and when you shake the game, the ball will react. To me, that is an incredible advancement. One of the reasons I never got into virtual pinballs without that, without the machine shaking, without you being able to move the machine and having the ball react on screen, I just wasn't interested. Yes, I know you can have a nudge button, but that's just not the same. And yes, Retro Ralph has showed that, you know, sometimes you have to move the machine a whole lot to get the ball react, and maybe it's not as smooth as it will be in future generations, but at least it's something. It is some acknowledgement that for pinball to be pinball, you got to, you know, you want to nudge the machine. And so virtual pinball has come of age, and Arcade 1-Up has done a great job on this machine. The chrome legs, the artwork, the Star Wars IP itself. All of it it reeks of being a real pinball game. So it has all the slick things that virtual pinball has, and it's made by Arcade 1-Up, a company that I now trust pretty much implicitly. Yes, you're not going to get the top of the line joysticks or buttons, but in pinball, does that really matter? You know, probably not. And if I really don't like it, I have a whole box of other buttons already. You can get, you know, 20 buttons online for 20 bucks. So it's a really simple mod if you want to do it. Adding the bass shaker is a super simple mod, it looks like. So even if you want to mod it, you can mod it, you know, a little bit and give yourself a really cool, really real pinball experience. There's just something magical about the game of pinball, and I've always wanted to have a pinball game. And maybe you agree or don't agree with this, but I'm very intrigued by this idea of virtual pinball games having the ability to be virtual. What do I mean by that? I mean, yes, you're going to be able to play real tables when it comes out with Mars Attack and the aforementioned Toy Shock Haunted House. So you can play real games on these machines, you know, actual real world pinball that they've translated to virtual. The games on this Star Wars game are all virtual, so they came from just someone's imagination in terms of in the digital world. So they're not so attached to physics, like the Sarlacc pit in the Boba Fett game when Boba Fett flies across and everything. Well, you could never do that in a real world pinball game, but you can here. That's intriguing to me. Now maybe I'll play it and go, oh, it's a video game. You know, maybe I won't love it. That's, again, one of the reasons why I wish I could test this game out now. On the other hand, I don't think it's crazy to think that at one point I'll have the Mars Attacks game and I'll have the Star Wars game. So I'll have or I'll get the Toy Shock version. So I'll have, you know, one game that has real world games and I'll have one that has virtual games. That's pretty cool to me. And because, I guess is the final reason why I pre-ordered it, I think it's now or never. Arcade 1-Up has shown that, yes, sometimes they'll put out a machine that doesn't sell. I don't think Burger Time's flown through the roof. I don't know about Outrun. I actually don't know that NBA Jam 4K has sold like hotcakes. It hasn't sold in the Walmart. They've had a very dusty pile of them for 400 bucks, and they have not moved. But most of their titles do move, and once they're gone, they're gone. If they don't reissue a game, then you're looking at the secondary market, and boy, that market has gone crazy. I'm trying to get a Mortal Kombat game, and you can't touch that game right now. I can't find it anywhere locally. No one's selling them. It's not available at any of the stores here, brick and mortar. There is a collectability factor to this. There's a now or never factor to this. If I don't get it now, well, when am I going to get it? Because once this run sells out, it sells out. I don't know if virtual pinball is more niche than three-quarter cabinet, video games or not. I don't know. I don't think anybody really knows. This is a big roll of the dice for Arcade 1-Up. To me, the worst thing that happens is if I get bored of this game, say by June, I sell it. I know I'm going to be able to sell it because it's Star Wars and because there are some pinball fanatics out there. Okay, so anyway, that's a quick look at why I did pre-order the Star Wars pinball game from Arcade 1-Up. I hope it is everything that I hope it is enough of a game that actually fools at least me into thinking it's pinball. I'm pretty sure the kids will think it's cool as far as it goes, but I don't know that any of my kids have ever played a real pinball game, or any of their friends have ever played a real pinball game. So there is a generation gap there. It's going to be interesting to me to see if younger kids, or if even my 20-year-old kids, if they enjoy playing this virtual pinball game. So there's a lot of reasons why I'm doing it, and hopefully in 40 days we'll get to see how it really looks. And as soon as I get the game in, of course I'll give you my review of it on then. Okay, so anyway, thanks for stopping by here. Please like the video. If you don't like it, give it 2 thumbs down. Anyway, thanks for checking this episode out. Please love each other, like, subscribe, share. Until next time, I'll see you in the Game Shack. Mwah! 'Cause I'm a pinball wizard. Wizard of pinball. Pretty sure that's how the words go.
Be sure to visit evilgeniusentertainment.com for exclusive content, swag, casting call news, and much, much more.